Hey everybody, it's Quickened, and welcome back to 5 Fact Friday, our little weekly Q&A with one another. Sorry, I almost started the Tattoo Talk Tuesday intro. I pick up the phone welcome back to Tattoo Talk Tuesday. And then it's funny, when I start to film Tattoo Talk Tuesday, you might realize that every episode, the last 10 episodes, I forget the intro. For a while, steady pace, steady intros, and then all of a sudden I forgot them. Getting into 5 Fact Friday. So Tattoo Talk Tuesday is celebrating its year anniversary, which is super awesome. Super awesome. I can't believe that it has been 1 year of Tattoo Talk Tuesday. It started last November. I don't know if you remember the very first question. I'm a woman and my friends say that my tattoos make me look very masculine, and I kind of dove into that, and that episode was 13 minutes, and I remember being like, that's too long. And now I think our longest episode to date was the episode with Hannah, and that one was a half hour. But thanks to you guys for all of the support and believing in me. I got a new chair for my scoliosis. Tattoo Talk Tuesday came from you guys directly. It is a way where I could take all the tattoo questions that I get, if it's outside in the streets, if it's on my Tumblr, if it's on my Instagram, my YouTube channel, a way to just direct all of those things and have a fun way to just answer them and interact with you guys. A lot of people have messaged me and said, hey, you helped me get my first tattoo, you helped me with my parents coming out and telling them that I wanted to be tattooed and understanding. Or there are people who are like, hey, I'm hella tattooed and I'm just down for the series. And I think that's really fun. I was talking to Hannah, and I found Hannah through YouTube and Instagram, and Hannah said that she takes these really long drives, she goes to different shows, and when she was long distance relationship dating her boyfriend, she would just put on Tattoo Talk Tuesday and stuff so she could have a little talk show in her drives. Obviously she's not watching her phone, she's just listening to it. And I think that's really cool. I don't know a ton about podcasts. I don't know if there is a Tattoo Talk podcast or whatever, but I just know when I first jumped into body modification and stuff like that, I relied really heavily on the experience of other people in order to create my own experiences. Even if it wasn't the exact same, I used to go on Body Modification Encyclopedia, and that's how I understood a ton of stuff. And I remember reading up on what to bring to appointments and things like that. And I got a comment over the weekend that was Quicken, I love your channel, but I know you're lying about this one. And it's I'm not. Real people ask these questions, and even if you view them as I knew that, that's common sense, I've always known that, whatever. I say this all the time in different forms. Sometimes we just need a little validation, a little double check. And the comment was about, in one of my appointment essentials video, I say what to include in the subject line when you're emailing your tattoo artist. And they were like, no offense, Quicken, but you made that one up. No one's ever asked you that. And they have, and I have. I've asked that question to myself. And I don't know if it was on Tumblr or something, but someone was like, hey, I tried to email this tattoo artist and they never got back to me. What do I do? And I explained that in my experience, one time I emailed somebody and my subject line wasn't strong enough, and I think they just scrolled past it in their email. It's a really real thing. No stupid questions. That's how I feel. So 1 year anniversary of Tattoo Talk Tuesday. So awesome. If you don't watch my tattoo talk shows, for sure, that's totally fine. So don't think that anyone's experience will ever be exactly like mine. So I try to keep that in mind and use discretionary language in the beginning of all my episodes. And I'm just one person with tattoos, and you guys are here to support me, and that's super cool. So thank you. 1 year, one entire year, every Tuesday. I've missed a handful of Tuesdays, but I'm pretty sure 67 episodes of Tattoo Talk Tuesday. Still going strong, guys. So today is Fun Fact Friday. Jumping in, here's one of the questions. So I was really excited to answer this one, and I'm going in strong, and I'm answering it first. I don't know if that goes against Q&As, where you want to do your strongest question last so people watch the whole thing. But here we go, jumping into it, because I saw this one and I was super excited. And this says, have you ever had any issues with your work because of YouTube channels or your online presence, aka getting fired for something? And I thought this was a really interesting question because it's something I've always wondered. And sorry, I'm like on a spinning chair. In my current situation, like my current job, it is really celebrated that I have this online presence. And it's never, ever been an issue at all. So it really hasn't been, and it's a little weird because my entire life, you know, it has been something that I have kept private, and not necessarily private, it's on the internet. But, you know, when I worked at McDonald's, I wasn't like, I am a Tumblr goddess, and you will not talk to me that way. All that stuff was pretty private, and I definitely put everything out there, definitely enough info to get me in trouble, but it really never did. I think it was a little too soon for all of that. When I worked at Target, we did have to sign like a social media clause, like that we would not take any photos or do any social media in the store, in the uniform, stuff like that. But then again, that was like in 2008. I definitely didn't take it seriously. I was definitely snapping pics on my like LG flip phone the whole time and never got in trouble for that at all. When I worked at my previous like coffee shop job, I did sign something kind of similar to the Target thing, but never got in trouble for any of that. I definitely posted pictures of like latte art, different things like that. We had a coffee that was called the Bollywood blend, and there was a day where we switched the sign to say the Dollywood blend, and I took a picture of that, didn't get in trouble. I taped a picture of Roy Sullivan to our coffee urn. Roy Sullivan, if you listen to the band I Hate Myself, they have a song about him. He's the guy who was struck by lightning like 10 times and lived. And our coffee urn used to like shock you. So I taped that picture of Roy Sullivan to it and took a picture. I didn't get in trouble for that, but they did take down the picture pretty quickly. That was taped to it. And when the coffee shop job was developing, I was asked for a lot of advice by their like social media manager, which is just the person who worked there. A lot of advice for that, and I was like happy and excited to do it and give it and like be like, oh my god, one of my passions? Of course. You better hashtag, girl. I remember like there was one time where they used to like hashtag the words in the sentences, and I'm really sorry if you do this, but oh my god, it's really hard when people are like, hey, hashtag good morning, it's time for hashtag coffee break over here in hashtag Philadelphia. Don't forget to hashtag like for like in order to hashtag... No, it can't be every word. You can hashtag keywords, but they had to stop with all that. If I left them with any good advice, it was to cut that out. After I left, they hired like a real person to do it, and I think that that's best, not just like having somebody who's on the floor also running like your social media at the same time. I think that's a little stressful. And that leads me to here, my current job. While I was in beauty school, I tried my best to not do any sort of social media around the beauty school. I feel nervous saying it now, but whatever. Like, our class handbook was really like worded in a very legally jargony way. And I remember after I posted one video, one of the dudes who went to the school actually approached me, and he was like, when I first started going here, I read something about your responsibilities while in the school uniform and things like that. And he was like, I just think, you know, for your best interest, you should really, really watch out what you say, where you post, where you photograph, what you're wearing, things like that. And I remember being like, but when I went to look up the school handbook online, they give you just like a website to look at it, it was taken down. So I was feeling really nervous, like, where did the handbook go? Like, what happened? Why is that part of the handbook that I need suspiciously gone? So after that, I felt really nervous. You know, while I was in beauty school, I wanted to make a ton of videos about beauty school, and I only ended up making like 3. And the one that I made, like Follow Me Around Beauty School, was so close to the end of my beauty school experience that I was like, give me what you got if it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, show me. It's going out. Just scrolling.
Get an Uber.
Oh, you want me to get an Uber on here? I'll take an Uber right home right now.
Jazz never saw Grease, and Jazz never saw... I love Grease.
Give me my ball back, bitch. Someone asked me on Snapchat how much makeup we get to do here.
Is it on?
Yeah.
None.
How do you like your school? That's what we're all asking.
I don't like it.
But yeah, you know, I had really high hopes for all of that because when I was choosing a beauty school, I could not find any YouTube videos about what I needed. And the only videos I could find were about Paul Mitchell. And I was like, where's all the Aveda videos? That's weird. So in beauty school, I was really scared about that because, you know, whatever you put out there ends up being like free advertising. But at the same time, I didn't want to get in trouble because there were a lot of policies and a lot of experiences that I had in my beauty school that I didn't like and I didn't recommend and that I didn't have, you know, the highest regard for. But then I would talk to other people at other Aveda schools and they were like, that is not an experience I shared. So I think, you know, I felt kind of bad talking about that stuff and really, really, really tried not to like film in my uniform or anything like that, or even really show products from school. Now it's almost been a whole year since I graduated and I don't care. I have a video coming up about beauty school. If you need to ask me more about beauty school, I would definitely make another Q&A about it. You can leave those questions down below. Now I don't care. You can take that away from me. I don't care. I'm glad I went though. It's not about beauty school in general. It's about my beauty school. Right now, my current job, it is really, 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 really awesome that I can be on social media. I think that I'm really eager to help, like Danielle, you see her on this channel all the time. I like her a lot. She is the like social media coordinator for my job, and like I said previously, like you need to hire someone to do that because it is a job. And if I were to ever do it for like a company or a brand or myself, like it's a full-time job. So I was really happy that my salon, when I started working there, like understood that and respected Danielle enough to like give her a title and like responsibility for like incorporating that into salon life. Her and I, like, I love to like just lend my experience to her as much as I can with anything that I know. I mean, they sent her, like 2 months ago, they sent her to like a social media class in New York, and she came back and like told me a ton of stuff, and I was like, tell me more. I love it. I also think it gave my boss a perspective for what I do. And, you know, when I started working there, it was hard because I was like, hey, Tuesdays and Fridays, I do YouTube. And, you know, I might not have a ton of subs, and it might not make sense to you, and it might seem silly, but this is something I'm actively pursuing and that I dedicate time to. And if my boss, you know, wasn't down for YouTube or Instagram or whatever, he probably would have been like, kind of sounds like you've limited availability, I'm not interested. But he was like, yeah, cool. And whatever, maybe he's just like laid back like that, or he respected what I said. I don't know. to this day, we still have conversations like, hey, are you gonna pick up more work? And I'm like, I have a full workload. I only have off on Sundays. Sometimes I'll come to work and he'll be like, oh, you had off yesterday? And I'm like, no, like, not really. I didn't. Even during Halloween, I was like, don't talk to me. I don't even have time for you to talk to me. Because October was insane. So they are really respectful of that. But with that, it's the constant understanding that they have complete access to all of my social media at all times. If they want to watch one of my YouTube videos, they can. If they want to go on my Instagram, they can. I hope they don't go on my Tumblr because it's a little personal. But that can be like a little daunting that they do that. Like the main boss, the like owner, like the boss. I remember I was shampooing one of his clients one day, and he came up to me after the Stranger Things lookbook, and he was like, man, they really tore into your boyfriend in the comment section of that video. And I was like, oh my god. Yeah, you know. None of the comments are true. So there's that understanding that they have complete access just like anybody else does to any of my videos. Someone asked me, like, do your parents watch your videos? And I just know that they don't. My parents don't read my Tumblr. My parents, all that stuff, that they're not really on that. I did respectively block my mom on Instagram, but that is like more personal and just like I don't want her to be a part of it. If it was like a different scenario and she was like my #1 cheerleader, like maybe, but it just like wasn't that. And she just made one like this year, and I wanted to be like, you don't know how to use this platform yet, no access. So she's not a part of it, and you know, like she has access to my YouTube, she like definitely does, like, but she doesn't watch those videos. If she did, it wouldn't change me at all, I don't care. My boss, like, I'm mindful of the fact that like my boss and my coworkers can come on here at any time, but I don't like turn on the YouTube and then turn it off. It's always kind of like this. So I am really comfortable like that. If I was like a performer or I had an alternative personality on here or something like that, like I think that transition might be a little different for me. Probably easier because I could be like, oh, that was quicken talking. I'm not like that. I would never block my mom on Instagram. But it's fine. Actually, I think it's really great. I am able to help my salon. Like, we did the model call, and I mean, I'm always looking for models, and I'm always there, like, happily to give advice to any of my coworkers or my boss or anything like that. So they're really supportive of it. But I do work in a field where self-promotion directly relates to, like, your ability to have clients. If I posted something on my Instagram today, like, hey, I'm looking for men's cuts, I think I would get a response, and then I could talk to those people and then bring them to the salon and cut their hair. So if I had a different career where social media wasn't a huge part of it, maybe it would be weird. Like, at the coffee shop, you know, that would be hard. And even John is like, you know, imagine if you were bigger on YouTube. When you worked at the coffee shop, it'd be like, yeah, people could just come to the coffee shop and be like, that's her behind the counter. No, I'm not ordering anything. That's her. And that happened to me like maybe 10 times total when I worked at the coffee shop, and I worked there for years. Now, since I'm at the salon, you know, there's a secretary and stuff like that, and people would have to make appointments with me. So it's definitely like safer for me too. I'm not candid about what salon I work at, but if you wanted to come and see me, you would have to like communicate with somebody first. So everything kind of works out. It feels good. This other question I wanted to answer, I've been getting this a lot, and I think it's since I posted my like punk house video. There are some pictures. It was like a 5 Friday where I just talked about like how I moved to Philly with like no money. And someone was like, hey, in one of the like screens that you showed, it showed like a really skinny picture of you. And then I have another question here that says, have you ever had any run-ins with an eating disorder? And I wanted to clarify everything for everybody. Trigger warning, I'm saying the word eating disorder, but I never had one. And I've had, problems with my weight, like fluctuating here and there. Growing up, I never thought that, like, I was really skinny or, like, really attractive. And I didn't really have a supportive parent who said all the words that, like, I needed to hear. Like, now I'm my biggest support, and I'm like, you look good. Take a picture of yourself. I was telling John the other day that I remember I had slept over my friend's house, and she lived in a big house, and, like, she was, I don't know, just different than me. But we got along. And I remember she invited one of her friends over for the sleepover. I was kind of the odd man out, and I remember feeling really weird, but it was, like, probably middle school, high school, so it wasn't like a slumber party. It was like we all slept there. I remember my mom picked me up the next morning, and I was like, Mom, like, I think that, like, I have really fat thighs. I think I have really fat thighs, and I don't know when big butts became so fucking popular, but having a big fucking butt in middle school, high school just made me look like I was running around with a diaper. Like, no one was like, damn, look at that shit. They were like, then I went to college and boys were paying attention to me, and I was like, this is weird. Yeah, I'll go first. I don't know. So I remember my mom picked me up, and I was like, Mom, I have, like, really fat thighs. I have stretch marks on my thighs. Like, they're just, like, so fat. I hate looking at them. They're, like, cellulite, and, like, no one else has these big fat thighs as me. Like, oh my god, low-rise jeans used to be cute, and I just never ever wore jeans because I felt like I looked so stupid in them. And I confessed all this to my mom, and I felt like I was, like, confessing this to her. And no lie, and I'm sorry, Mom, but she said, when you get older, you can get plastic surgery. And I don't know if she was watching fucking Dr. 90210, whatever the fuck it's called, that day, and then picked me up. She was like, Amanda, you can get plastic surgery, and they can do it in one day. It's really affordable, and you can do this and that. And I've seen people get boob jobs, and you can get a really natural boob job. Because until recently, like, this is a flat table, and that always really upset me too, body image. And, I got home, and what do? I Google plastic surgery. And I have no issue with plastic surgery, but I have an issue with telling a 16-year-old girl that if she doesn't like her body, then a doctor can change it. And I think that, like, that kind of messed with me a lot. And that kind of made me think that, like, I wasn't in control of what my body could look like, but a doctor was. Instead of my mom being like, love yourself, or eat an apple, or go for a run if you don't like the way you look, or, you're perfect to me. So I never had, like, a really concrete, like, support system for body image. And although I've never had an eating disorder, I really just, like, did not like the way I have ever looked. Because of, like, weird little backhanded fucked up shit like that. Like, why would you say that to it? I don't know. Like, I try to think of, like, the language I use to talk to my friends when people express, like, problems with their own body image, and I would never, ever, ever fucking say that unless they were like, here's a picture of someone with plastic surgery. I want to look like this. I was like, oh, you should get it. Not like, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. No anti-plastic surgery, just like when your fucking 16-year-old daughter says she doesn't like the way her legs look in pants, you take her to the store and get her a skirt. So, my weight has fluctuated a lot in my life, and when I was, like, at my skinniest, it was not because of an eating disorder. It was just because I couldn't afford to feed myself. For the longest time, you guys may know, I worked at McDonald's, and I always ate. I loved McDonald's. It was my favorite food, but I always had food. I always worked there. When I moved out, when I was kicked out, when I was traveling around, I always had McDonald's. And even when I didn't work that day, I would still go there. And I feel like I have a picture of me holding like Boca chicken patties, like in my pajamas in front of my car. I'm really hoping I find it because I'm really visualizing it. I'm wearing like a red shirt. I have a picture of me holding a box of Boca chicken patties. It's probably like 6 o'clock and I'm about to drive to McDonald's to cook them there and like dress them and everything and then go home. Even when I became vegan, I still worked at McDonald's and I still knew all the fucking like McDonald's hacks to feed myself very well. I don't think average people could go and order these things, but I work behind the counter. When I lost my job at McDonald's, it was also the point where I was learning how to feed myself without the crutch of like all that McDonald's stuff. That's like easy bake oven, like connect the dots cooking, and I had done that for years. Cooking for myself beyond that, I was like, how do you turn an oven on? I'm not lighting anything. And I was happy that like I became vegan in that time, because if I had to learn how to cook like ground meat and like prepare chicken without getting salmonella, like I think that would be really challenging. Even now, like most vegan food can't really kill you if you fuck it up, unless you choke on it. So when I first became vegan, at one point in my life, I was on food stamps. I was on food stamps for about 6 months. And then after I started like kind of picking up my life, I didn't renew them. And that was just a choice I made. And in that time, I was able to like kind of learn how to pick up things for myself. With food stamps, you can't buy prepared food, like a rotisserie chicken or something. At least that's what I think. You can't buy like cat food, you can't buy paper towels or whatever. You can buy like food ingredients. When I didn't renew those, I just like didn't really have food. I've had some experience like going to food banks and things like that, food larders, and now I'm like really supportive of donating to them and things like that. The larder that I used to go to, I still think of fondly. When I first moved to Philadelphia, like when that picture was taken, I was really, really, really underweight. And not because I wanted to be at all. Just my goals were really like go to school, find this place to live there, and just keep my head above water. So that's what I was trying to do to the best of my ability. And food like really was not top priority in all that. Like honestly, I used to just like buy rice, buy something that I could cook every single night, and then finally I had a place to like cook and do stuff, and it was in that kitchen. I was not somebody who had like a lot of friends. I think a lot of the food I currently eat in this life is from like going out to eat or like reading about something that I want to try and eat that. Like I have a lot of fun like doing vegan tasting and like buying like different vegan ice creams and things like that and tasting them and trying them and going to like little vegan restaurants and like patronizing things like that. And a couple years ago, I just financially did not have that capability. It used to be like I would drink coffee for breakfast and have rice for dinner, and like that was it. So yeah, I was really underweight and probably malnourished. I did go to a health clinic back then, and I did have like blood tests done to make sure that like I was okay, and I remember no red flags came up, and I haven't had one since. I probably really should. I would really love to do a series on like the nutrition and like of my body. If anyone knows anyone in Philadelphia, I just don't have health insurance, so I would have to do it cashola, which I don't mind. So I never had an eating disorder, but there was a time when I couldn't afford food and I didn't have like a kitchen to cook it in. I didn't have access to food. If you're ever broke, work at a restaurant, because when I quit McDonald's, when I was fired from McDonald's, I really realized how much I ate there and how much I wasn't really paid any money, but all the food that I ate there definitely like supplemented my life. So this is 5 Fact Friday. I think in there I answered like sub questions. I know I'll always see a comment that was like, that wasn't 5 questions, and I'm like, well, I'm looking at like 10 questions right now and like trying to read them and integrate them into this. But this is 5 Fact Friday. Thank you guys so much for all the support and 1 year of Tattoo Talk Tuesday, which I guess means 1 year of 5 Fact Friday, which means 1 year of Quicken. Thank you guys for all the support on the Follow Me Around vlog. That was so fun. I had no idea that would be so fun. Vlogmas from last year, I feel like didn't get that many views, so I was like, I don't know about these Follow Me Around vlogs. I don't think anyone likes them, but I'll just try it. I was sick and shopping by myself, so the camera felt like you guys were there with me, and that's honestly how it felt. It was really cool. So yeah, thank you guys again. I love you. Leave your comments down below, and bye.